Hello, Vault Dwellers and Wastelanders. My name is Kyle, and I will be your overseer for tonight's episode of Tales from Tomorrow, Under the Mothman's Embrace, our Fallout TTRPG series that we broadcast live over on Twitch at twitch.tv/overseer Kyle, and we syndicate them, usually on Wednesdays, up to YouTube. In addition to that, after the show, we do something called a case review, our critical after-show evaluation, and we post that up to our Substack for paying members, and it also goes up to our Ko-fi page, which you can see down here in the description if you want to grab it. All the links will be in the description, but I want to send people to the uniform, singular hub of it all, which is overseerkyle.com. You can find our Vault Broadcast podcast, where we interview fellow Fallout creators. You can find these episodes of the TTRPG, and like I said, it's syndicated form, but also the Overseer's Log, the companion GM diary deep dive into the behind the scenes with all the ongoing rumblings and such like that. Really fun recaps that we get to do. But instead of giving you tons of things up front, I want to direct you to the comment section, direct you to the description, sound off down below if you're enjoying these episodes, if you're looking to get into a Fallout TTRPG of your own. And we're going to dive in and pick up where we left off. We had a week off. Sky was moving, so we are now settled back in, and we're picking up in Appalachia. Let me zip us over to this scene really quickly. Picking up near the... I guess we're headed to the Groves family cabin, is what it sounds like. The gang had left the Aaron Holt farmstead or homestead, and they were going to regroup with Ted, Marlene, and Reuben, the settlers they had met. And then there was talk also about going to find Alfred, because Alfred, their Mr. Handy on the boat in the Ohio River, had said that he was going to head out if he hadn't heard it from anyone in about 48 hours. So there's a little bit of a clock moving in the background. Also, tonight's episode is going to be a little bit truncated. Summer heat going on out there. People are working their asses off. Everyone's busy. So we're going to get some sleep tonight after this episode. We're going to keep it a little bit shorter than usual. And that might be a thing we do going forward. We'll see. It's most important about hitting the plot points, not dragging out to hit some sort of time table. So with that being said, I want to introduce all of our players for tonight. We have Sky playing Sam. Hello, Sky. How are you today? Big update since the last time we talked to you.
Yes, indeed. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good to hear. We've got Dark Knight playing his character Jim. Hello, DK. How you doing today?
Well, doing pretty good. Managing my finances throughout the week, looking to get new PC parts to hopefully get back into the streaming game and do some Fallout content. So we'll see how that goes.
That's a good reminder that we have been playing a lot of Fallout 76 over on Twitch. So if you're interested in joining us in the Wasteland, you can find DK, Mac, and myself fooling around there with a bunch of other players from our Twitch chat. So look out for that. A lot of the nights of the week. I don't really know what to tell you yet, except I will tease it here. Friday Night Fallout. We're going to be pushing for people to join us in the Appalachian Wastes on Friday nights. Looking for a single time of the week that we can get the most amount of people in and hanging out. So if you want to add something weekly to your calendar, in addition to these episodes that you like to consume, consider coming and joining us in Appalachia. Again, Friday nights, probably around 7 p.m. Eastern time will be the real focus.
Don't forget the events we got coming up in August.
Yes, the crafting fairs, I think is what DK is pointing to. Is that right?
Yep.
August 2nd and 16th. Those are Saturdays. We're going to be looking to get people into Fallout 76 so that we can craft gear, weapons, armor, etc. for you. You can do the same. If you're someone that has a lot of that stuff, a lot of components, materials, plans, etc., you could be one of the crafters. There's a lot of new players, and we've been meeting them, getting them into the Twitch stream, getting them into the Discord server, getting them set up on their characters. And you could be a part of that. You could help out some fellow players. With that being said, we will go over to our last player at the table here for tonight, which is Mac Raven, playing her tribal Mothman cultist, Raven. How are you tonight?
The wild one, the Mac Raven, is here. Please send Blamco and Vim, or else I will send the Mothman after you.
We'll see. You need to roll a combat die to see if the Mothman obeys your prayer, Raven. That's what's up for you. We'll see if he...
And also, by the way, this is a Nuka family here. We don't drink them.
He's right. He's right. I don't know where the heck this Vim stuff came from, Mac, but it's gotta go. Pouring out. Oh, she rolled a...
Nuka is for dritty commies.
I don't think so. I think it's the drink of America, Mac. It's the drink, just like Coca-Cola, that powers imperialist ambition and the conquering of nations. So if you like blood money, Nuka-Cola. Okay, with that being said, we've kind of gone through our little introductory recap. I am, if the players are ready for it, going to prepare to sort of pass it over to all of you. We could just do a little bit of a soft open because I think you guys had left off as you were headed down the road. So that is literally where we left off, was you were leaving the Aaron Holt homestead and you were heading back towards the Groves family cabin. Why don't we start off with Sam, see how he's handling things. He's had a harrowing encounter over the last, 24 hours, from being kidnapped to thinking they lost Reuben. So why don't we pick up with a little bit of maybe an introspection from him, and we can go down the line on some of these people.
Well, I'm certainly in quite a deal of pain as I limber back to the Groves family cabin. You know, there's likely a little bit of blood still coming out. I was able to take a look at this wound, but that was just a quick hot fix. It's definitely pain in my side, and I still feel lucky that I even made it out of there.
And what thoughts are going through Jim's head as he walks back?
Well, Jim is just glad to have Reuben alive and well.
For sure. And Reuben, who has had her moment of seeing a Mothman in person, and then going so far as to travel to Lantern, the ethereal home of the Mothman cultists, the wise Mothman cultists. What's she thinking? Raven's typing it.
I saw the Latin and the wise one, Sam and Jim.
I think she's talking to you too.
Oh.
What's the lantern?
It like the home of wise one, but I don't think it place you can go in body.
So it's like a place that exists in the alternate dimension?
Yes.
Wow.
That's fascinating. Sounds like something out of those comic books.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. How do you think that you got there?
I am not sure. I saw a red-eye Mothman ANF got pulled into a different place.
That's certainly something. Let's hope that doesn't happen again. unless you learn something from it.
I learn that there is big army of Dims, one heading to Point Pleasant. I think it a bit fuzzy.
So them dim one people, they're the ones that I'm confused. Look, I'm confused, Raven. So somehow there's you, and then there's the dim ones. The dim ones think that you're a heathen and you're going against the Mothman, but you're thinking you're the one that's them going against the Mothman. So the question I have is, are they the ones that are against the Mothman? Are they the bad ones? Like, how does this work?
I'm not sure, Jim.
All right.
Raven, if you're trying to actually recall some of this stuff as your character in very traditional D&D format, if you want to know stuff, if you, the player, are asking to know stuff, you are welcome to sort of ask me, sidebar, here in this chat, too, if you're looking for guidance on any of the lore stuff. If there's something your character is not exactly certain of from your past, we can also roll some checks to see what Raven may or may not know, too. Just to kind of interject that as well for the conversation, because the Mothman lore in this game is detailed and quite complex.
I have questioned myself. I seen the red eye. I mean, I didn't think it was real, so are they both real?
Honestly, I think that I saw something whenever you left. Whenever you disappeared, I'm certain that I saw something flying into the sky.
No, that was just the smoke from the fire. I don't think that there was any chance of that being anything supernatural.
I've never seen smoke climb that fast, that high.
But have you ever seen the Mothman?
I see more of him than I want to in the eyes of these people that we deal with. And I worry that, one day it's going to come actually knocking on the door.
Jim, you seen the power of the orb too, and yet you don't believe.
Well, power of the orb, that's just a plastic ball with a die inside, and it's just crazy people making up nonsense that isn't real. So just because I somehow convinced these crazy maniacal people that I was in charge doesn't mean that there's any sort of real power to this plastic orb ball.
So you think nuts Jim is mean?
I don't think you're nuts, but I don't know if I realistically believe that there is such things happening supernaturally in this world.
I don't mean to, beat this point to the dirt, but we've seen things that, are far beyond what we would have considered supernatural just before the bombs dropped. There's been some. I mean, we're standing next to a 9-foot tall man with the strength to be able to pick up a car.
Well, hey, I'll tell you, radiation is one hell of a drug.
I'm just saying, the Wasteland isn't exactly what they would have predicted before the bombs dropped. So who knows what exists in these lands, in these mountains.
You mean Rads made the Mothman?
Well, I don't suppose why not. I mean, we look at Chop. Chop is this huge dude with super strength. I mean, who's to say that a moth can be transformed into a flying beast?
And we've seen gigantism in many different insects post-war.
And two-headed moo-moos?
Well, that is true. That is true.
Chop is leading ahead of the group just a little bit, far enough to just be out of basic earshot for this conversation as you all begin approaching the Groves family cabins. You notice that the smoke from the campfire from the past is snuffed out. There's no plumes of smoke on the horizon today as you return. And as Chop kind of rounds the last bend and kind of his head peeks up over the kind of shrubbery and trees that obscure the cabin from the road, you all begin to hear the sort of light hustle of boxes being moved. You hear things being sort of clanked and banged, some pots maybe being placed into containers. And as you get into that final sort of stretch towards the cabin, you hear probably Ted call out, not too loudly, but you hear, "Hey, they're back. I see Chop coming up here." And you all yourselves cross that line in the foliage. You can see indeed the three settlers that have been here now have their belongings about as packed as they can. There's a lot left behind. There's, of course, farm plots here that they had been working. They obviously can't take that with them. But the threat of the Mothman cultists has definitely changed their trajectory in the region, that they, who had been comfortable to camp out here, now seeing the necessity of leaving. Having three of you abducted from the camp, even when there was a watch happening, is a good reminder that the cultists have their ways, that they are trackers and people of the woods. Beyond that, you personally, this group, has seen the cultists be able to channel magics or sciences far outside of your understanding of the natural world, from spawning vines, roots from the ground that can destroy brick structures, to see those same vines throw your armored personnel carrier, to the sheer power of endurance that it gives to some of its most loyal or indoctrinated members that could withstand dozens, if not hundreds of bullets flying at them from large caliber machine guns, things that should shred a normal person, but that didn't bother these figures. And with Raven's recent vision of an army amassing at the gates, the crew now returns to these settlers, these people who've put you up and fed you for the last 2 or so days, that now you're in a position to decide what you want to do with them. Help them leave, encourage them to stay, take them with you, send them onwards. But as you come up to the actual cabins now, you can see Ted and Marlene hoisting down a large crate from over the sort of balcony, if you will, of the cabin, the porch. You can see Reuben sort of taking a lookout position, standing on the opposite cabin, using its sort of elevated porch structure and such to get as best of a view down the road area as possible. As you approach, they give you a solemn greeting. It's not a happy atmosphere here at the cabin. It's a rushed purpose, a solemn purpose. You all return. Is there anyone you want to speak to here in particular? Is there anything you guys go about doing? Is there any situations you'd like to engage in? Because Chop begins going back to around to the back of the cabin where he had left bits of protectrons. And even he, knowing the atmosphere here, you can hear, grabs them and begins moving those carcasses down towards the street. So I pass it to all of you.
I would like to approach Reuben, and I'm going to ask him, hey, buddy, looks like y'all are getting ready to head out of here. Do you have someplace to go?
Oh, Sam, this has been our everything for the last, I don't know, we've been here maybe 6 months, rebuilding this place. It come a long way. You know, we moved out to these cabins right after the big storm, the big winters came through. 6 months. Well, yeah, that'd be about right. Back in, I don't know, something around March or April. Hard to tell these days. I don't keep up on time perfectly, but where to go? I have some knowledge of the local area. There's a couple little options that stand out to me in particular. There's a new responders kind of outfit going on. They got some sort of cabin down south of here past 76 near the old small lumber mill. Not the one you all would have passed, but they got something there. Intake a lot of newbies and lost, wayward people. That's probably one of our best. Quite a walk, though, I'll be honest with you. And, I don't know, there's some other abandoned munition facilities near the Ohio River. Maybe that's something to consider retrofitting. I'll take, advice from any of y'all if you have any locations in mind that take in wayward folks.
Well, we came from a town called Hope. It's a place up north of the West Virginia lumber mill that we're trying to, kind of plant some roots in and also help it grow. It's not necessarily going to be the safest place for the Mothman. I don't think any place is safe, but we have there enough to hopefully defend it if anything happens. If you'd like to stay there, we would definitely enjoy having someone of your expertise there. We've been trying to get a farm going there for, I don't know how long.
Hope. Yeah, it's a interesting name for a place in this wasteland. How many people you got up there? What's it like?
I'd say that there's dozens there already. We've got a pretty good security team. I know the guy who runs the place, Tom, super good guy, and he would be happy to take y'all in. And I pull out my map and I show him where it is, and I say, you could probably make it there if you were speedy, maybe a day and a half, 2 days. And I point to Rusty's farm. If you need to take a break, there is this farm here ran by a ghoul named Rusty. You'll want to keep your caps close to you, but he's an all right guy, and he might be able to shelter you, for a night, provided you might have to do some work for him. But it's also a pretty safe place.
Oh, work for him. Sam, why don't you go ahead and roll a speech and charisma check? I'm going to see what he rolls. He has 1 success, so that's what you're up against. 2 successes. Also, that roll, I'm not upset about it anyway. That rolled intelligence, though. I don't know why that was. Maybe that was autofilled.
It's an old one.
It's perfectly fine. As long as you're okay with it. You beat him by...
It's from the last one we did.
Yeah, all groovy. You get 1 back to your 1 AP back to your pool there, which I'll do for you. I got it open handy. Reuben looks at you hearing that, and he says, well, that is a hell of a good opportunity. And honestly, it might not be, let me see that map again, might be, it's probably actually a lot closer to us than going down. For folks at home, if you can see you can see my cursor hovering up this area. This is about where Hope is. I'm using an official 76 style map site right now. So our markers are not on here, but up in this region is where the town of Hope is, about right here. Rusty's farm is somewhere about this area. And we are right now here. So you can kind of see that's all the distance between these regions, that trek. Where they're thinking of going would be the whole way down here. This is about where the responders, actually I believe this is exactly where they're set up at the Gilman lumber mill. So they would need to hoof it the whole way down, sort of around. It would be quite a trek for them to go that direction. With your charisma check on that, Sam, it's pretty easy to catch his eye with that plan. I like it, Sam. I think if you got good people and you can vouch for them, maybe that's where we go next. But he kind of gestures over, looking over your shoulder a bit to Ted and Marlene over there. He says, they got a hell of a lot of stuff they want to pack up. I don't know if you got a spare pack Brahmin or any sort of magic like that, but I think we're going to have a heck of a time trying to get it up there. I think that they're maybe a little wide-eyed or open-eyed about it all. I want to get to skedaddling myself. You're not happening to take that fancy boat of yours up there anytime soon.
We are actually going the opposite way.
Wow.
But I can confer with, my compatriots and see what they think, if we might be having some time to give you a ride. Although it would be kind of reversing the progress that we've made thus far.
I hear you. You just let us know. I don't want to be any kind of burden, but with a bunch of cultists out there lining up, I'm not really sure 3 slow settler folk like us are gonna be able to outrun it. You let me know. Let me know what your team thinks up, and well,
Absolutely. Let me go talk to Jim and Raven.
where do we find Jim and Raven? Where have they gone off to as Sam pulled Reuben aside or went over to where Reuben was?
I'm back in the room, kind of like getting things together.
Sure. Makes sense. And what's Raven busied herself with in this moment of returning home?
I'm resting and thinking.
Busy day. So Sam looks like he finds his buddies in their cabin.
Well, friends, we might make a side trek if you all are interested. They're going to need some help, and they've done a lot for us. They've fed and sheltered us. So, do you think it's worth dropping them back off to Hope? Do we have time to do that, you think?
Well, a logical person would say, we've made all this progress, and it seems no point in diverting course. But the problem with the logical person is the logical person is only ever so logical and never enough human. The human person would say, they helped us out, we should help them too, and I think that that's what we need to do.
I think you're right. I mean, Reuben, he kind of almost died because of us. I do think we owe it to him, at the very least. Those Mothmen, they might have not ever come here if it weren't for us, and Raven, specifically.
That's true.
I think we should grab more supplies if a battle is going to happen, and it would be the right thing, otherwise I don't think they will make it on foot.
Alright, if you're all game, maybe we can just, put the boat into overdrive coming back. Pedal to the metal, as they used to say.
But Sam, what about Chop when he meet Al?
I'm gonna try to have a conversation with him. We'll be able to show him the Nukabot when we get back, so maybe he'll have a little bit more interest in that. Maybe we can just grab it and, Jim and him can work on it on the boat during your spare time.
With this new plan devised, and to recap with us all here, we are talking about taking the settlers down to the boat near the Tyler County Fairground and then taking them up the Ohio River back to Hope then to drop them off using that. Which, as you kind of look out over what they have, sort of makes a lot of sense. For those that have done a lot of Fallout 4 and 76ing, these guys have some of those almost like metal footlocker sort of things. Like there's a rectangular crates in the game that are about probably the size of a single bed in length. So they're like a 2-person carry job. Though I think a lot of you would recognize, if you can convince Chop to continue joining you on this adventure, Chop could probably carry a significant amount of that weight, reducing the burden on everyone. One of the most telling things that you gather out of this farm is like Reuben had said, they don't have a Brahmin, which is probably very limiting to a group like this. You could tell they kind of, set up shop here pretty spontaneously 6 months ago. They've already implied that in their past conversations, not even implied, straight up said that some of the local homesteads and things get occupied seasonally, and then people sort of move around based on the climate season, but also the season of Appalachia. Whatever current threat dominates the area sort of dictates where people are able to settle at any one given time. As you all have put together very clearly, especially getting your first taste of a real beachhead in this portion of Appalachia, you recognize how and why hope is sort of out of reach of Foundation, that these are sort of the pioneering areas where the responder crews, the people of settler type, the ones that are bringing in a new kind of almost communal living, helping one another, building back some sense of civilization in the region. You can really feel that this is one of those gray sort of liminal zones. You know that just over the hillside here, just over the ridge, is the free radicals. You know that in many capacities you're within their sort of fiefdom, that this is certainly where they would have a lot of their run and say, but you've noticed that they really like their fortress at the lumber mill. I wonder if anyone here might want to do a sort of check. There's some stuff about the lumber mill in relation to Chop that some people might take some notice of. Does anyone here want to run some sort of intelligence test for us? I think what would be the most proper, and it probably wouldn't be Reuben. Reuben, you were on the boat in your last visit to the lumber mill. So if Jim or Sam would like to do, let's take a look at our list here, what we got for intelligence things. I feel like science is, this game needs a little bit more of like a social check skill. I would say I would let Jim especially do a science and intelligence, and Sam to do a speech and charisma, if you guys want to try and like get a little extra intel out of this. I was just going to base it on whatever your success score is sort of what's going to do different levels of intel. There's not a firm check you need to hit. But again, if you guys would like to do that, you're more than welcome to proceed.
I'll do it.
And does Jim want to throw in one too?
Am I doing 2 or just 1 die?
Two. Just a normal check here. Good question.
Okay.
Great.
Ooh.
Great. I think that while Sam was busy conversing at the lumber mill, I think Jim in particular would have taken notice that the, again, sort of almost castle-like feel to the lumber mill. Jim would have probably noticed that they had seized that place and that there was remnants, some old architecture or signs of super mutants having inhabited that area previously. Jim may have noticed some bones out near the river. He may have noticed that, again, there's sort of that metallic cage-like structure and aesthetic that super mutants tend to bring with them. He probably has gathered, and we'll say in addition to Sam having heard some things at the bar, at the canteen there, that group is very proud for having conquered that space. And so as much as you're within the kind of sphere of influence of the free radicals, you're still out here in a bit of the Wild West in a sense. There's only them that control the land, if you will, but they control it through a centralized place of power. And so when you're talking about taking these settlers to the boat, you'd really get the feeling that this is a lot safer of a route. If you made them walk up north, there's probably a very low chance of these guys having survived the journey. Whether the free radicals might abduct them and put them to work, on one of their other farms, whether they bring them in to their fold, that's a possibility too. They're not completely unreasonable people. Whether they would be grabbed by creatures of the night, like the Wendigo that you fought up there in the woods. You just know it's a pretty rough road. So with all these plans together, with you having that little bit of intel, I think that especially Sam and Jim might know that it's possible even that Chop has some connection to the lumber mill. Hard to say. No one's really asked the guy. We don't know where he's from. He could be from south. He could be from north. He could be from anywhere. But bringing him along would be an asset. I don't remember if anyone really formally convinced or had a conversation with him about going on that leg of the journey on a boat, period. So if anyone here is interested in trying to, give Chop a bit of a rundown, he's just there, again, gathering his own stuff, which is not much. He's got his 2 busted up Protectron carcasses in tow, and he's ready to, I suppose, kind of depart from the group. He's sort of that person that's in and around the party that, like, if you guys in the settlers were to go your own separate directions, Chop would probably just stay behind. He'd probably just go back into the woods on his own, doing his own thing on his own path. So as you see him kind of milling about, if anyone here wants to go and fill him in, completely your choice.
I'd be down to talk to Chop. I'll approach him. I'll say, "How's it going, big guy? How are you feeling?"
Feeling like I did not get to kill enough cultists. Small humans. I do not like them.
Oh, well, I'm sure that if you stick with us, there's going to be plenty more where that came from. We're about to head back to our little town of Hope. And I think that there's something there that you'd really like to enjoy if you'd want to come with us.
Enjoy? What would there be for Chop to enjoy?
We have this little, it's called a Nuka bot. It's like this these Protectrons that you have here, but it was made to serve Nuka-Cola. I've been thinking that maybe, you're good at tearing down, Jim's good at building back up. Perhaps, y'all could work together to maybe make it a little bit more beefier. Maybe make it, who knows what it could do. Maybe it could make nuka grenades. The world is our oyster.
I do not know this robot, but Chop needs to make a stop before we go further. If Chop is to go with you, I must gather my other things.
Where are these other things?
There is a cabin, trailer, south, near here, down the road. And he points. And I don't know how many of you would gather this from your sort of limited intel of the area exactly. You've heard it referenced to by the others, and you may have noticed it at best on your walk up here, but he is sort of gesturing in the direction of the Darling Sisters lab, which is just down the road from you all. But again, this is sort of a cabins wilderness area, so things are sort of obscured and off to the side. I believe this one's up a little bit of a hill even.
Well, that looks like it's on the way back to our boat, so I wouldn't see a problem with us stopping by there, getting your stuff, and heading out.
Then I'll go. I will smash any cultist that I see on my way.
Before we begin, I do need to let you in on something, Chop. Now, on our boat, we have a robot. His name is Alfred. Unfortunately, he's off limits to chopping. You know, you're welcome to have a conversation with him. He's a really great guy, but we cannot have him destroyed. He's very valuable to us.
Chop needs parts. Your robot has parts.
We can find you other robots, I'm sure. We've already run into a couple of them. But this one in particular, he's really important.
Chop does not like robots.
He might grow on you. Who knows?
Sam, why don't you roll your charisma and speech check and just see what you get. Now roll his here too.
I'm going to pay for one.
Okay, go for it. Ooh, you and he tie. And I forget what that exactly means.
Could I use my skill to reroll one?
Yes, it applies for this situation in particular.
Oh, God.
Ooh, nice reroll. Sam got a critical failure. Your takeaway from this would be that you hope that message has gotten through to Chop, but you also realize that the super mutant could probably throw you the distance of the Darling Sisters cabin. So at best, your choices right now would be to just accept it at face value, or you could try and push back, but who knows how Chop's demeanor may work out.
Mr. Chop, no smash me, okay me is nice, and no break, Mr. Al is my friend.
Cultist asking Chop to defend robot.
Yes.
Maybe. Chop needs parts.
We'll keep an eye out for any farm hands on the road. There might be some wandering Mr. Handy around here somewhere.
That would be good. Maybe Chop will show you. Maybe Chop won't.
Well, I appreciate the consideration.
And I think with that one, he
Mr. Chop is nice.
kind of starts walking away towards the road as if he's about to just start going in that direction. This does sort of leave Reuben, Ted, and Marlene to kind of be dealing with their own stuff without him. They are, I would say, in the final leg of their packing up. And you can tell that they're now at this sort of realization, especially Ted and Marlene. They're like, we've got a lot. This is, what do I want to say? Probably between them, they've got, like Ted and Marlene, the two of them could carry one of these large footlockery type things. And maybe Reuben and one of you could carry another, but it still leaves a couple medium-sized like crates behind. Things that could be handled by a person, things that could be carried by a person.
You guys you need, I can carry some too.
Marlene says, well, I think I think we might need that. Where y'all heading off to? I see your friend Chop there's looking pretty antsy to leave. Where y'all off to next?
We're gonna head south, hit the Darling Sisters lab so that Chop can get some of his personal belongings, and then we just need to get to the Tyler County Fairground. Our boat is parked right on the docks near there.
Reuben mentioned that you all might be willing to give us a ride up north, maybe? Pretty please?
Most definitely. We'll help you get your things, and we'll all lug it on the boat.
Thank goodness, because we've been here a little longer than we thought. Trying to get out of the way of a raging storm is quite the endeavor when you're this entrenched.
Look, Jim, we got you a real boat crew now.
Well, excuse me. That might actually work out. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Marlene hears that. She goes, well, I know he's a little bit humble and won't say it, but honestly, Ted's always been talking about boats and fishing, and he used to make a lot more trips down to the Ohio River when we first kind of got up into this part, but it comes and goes if you really want to make that kind of outing. We every once in a while do go down to the Tyler County Fairgrounds type of area close to the river, cast a few lines in and make a day of it, but I think he'd love to be on a boat. I think he knows a thing or two as well.
That's actually good to hear, because the more people that can drive this thing, the better. We're relying on Jim as a backup right now, because the person we had piloting it, she's incapacitated right now. So if we could have more people in the town who know how to pilot different things, that'd be perfect.
I hope your friend recovers, and I hope that's not any kind of tradition for the boat crew of the ship. I don't want to lose Ted overnight or overboard, let's say. But your friend is picking up some speed down the hill there. We better, if we're keeping up with him, we better all pick up, lift up, and haul off. Ship off, as we maybe say.
I'm inclined to agree, especially with the cultists hot on our tail. We probably should get going.
So with that, Ted, Marlene start hoisting one thing. Reuben's looking at the other. He goes, who's going to help me out with this? Who do we have helping Reuben lift up that one? And who's taking the lighter crates and things?
Jim, you better help.
Yeah, I'll be helping.
With a long trek, I'm gonna have to take something light. It's gonna kill my back, so I'll grab some of the lighter stuff.
Sure. Well, as I see Raven's typing, go ahead. Gives me a second to pull stuff up here.
Me is Stonger, I will carry more.
You could go and help Reuben with that if you're so interested.
Sure.
As you all begin your journey following Chop, who is himself not empty-handed, carrying 2 Protectron carcasses behind him, both at this stage are without their legs. It's the upper torso and arms. He's carrying both of them by an arm, one in each hand. And he leads you down the road, winding about, and then up. I wonder if we can get a better picture even. This is the Darling Sisters lab. Sits up on a hillside with a couple structures. Some pretty sunsets to be seen in there. Not sure we get many other better ones than this. But as Chop leads you all up there, like a perception and survival. From probably Reuben. You want to lead it for the pack here, and people can assist you if you need it. But I'm going to say difficulty 3 on this one. It's more of a general observation to give you a little bit of extra. Reuben, with that, you see these odd colors coming out of the bushes, out of the ground, out of these little patches off to the side of the path you're traveling up. I don't know that Reuben would have any sort of idea as to what this might even be. Chop doesn't seem fazed or interested by it.
Mr. Sam and Jim are those normal-looking flowers. They are glowing.
I've never seen a flower glow like that.
Huh. If we approach them, we should be cautious. We've already, had some experiences with the local flora of this area.
Reuben, who's carrying the crate with Jim, chimes in and says, yeah, don't go off the beaten path here. That's, well, unless you want to meet some of Appalachia's least inviting fauna. They're, don't even really know what to call. Maybe they're the flora too, I don't know. You ever heard of a floater before?
Maybe we should stay away from them. Those don't look right.
What's a floater?
Always a funny question.
A flouter.
Well, I don't know what they are. Odd creatures. Maybe animal, maybe flower, maybe something else. They make an odd groaning sound, and boy, can they hit you with something nasty. Some of them spray acid. Some of them worse. Some of them even...
Acid.
Some can even spit a flammable fluid at you. Something like a napalm. I'd recommend staying on the road here.
Yikes, Sam, that sounds bad.
Yeah, I say we steer far clear enough from that.
You know what's interesting is those super mutants never seem bothered by him. I don't understand it. We had a couple super mutant sort of activities around here in the woods. Chop's not the first. And, even throughout Appalachia, there's a sort of well-known trader who comes by people's encampments every once in a while. Him and his Brahmin come through, trading, selling, buying. I got a little bit of intel from him back in the day when we last met him. Enough to stay away from these. That's what I gathered. As you continue to follow Chop up the hillside, you approach these cabins that are shown on stream, and you see that around the buildings there are a lot of robot carcasses. A lot would mean you see, as you're getting there, multiple protectrons. Specifically, you notice a lot of their upper torsos there, their glass dome and upper bodies. You see a couple different colors of them. Some of them are in better states of repair than others as well. Some of them look like they have been there for months or years. They're partially almost buried in the growth around the cabins. The grasses and things are reclaiming and growing over them. Others look way more recent. You see some with red paint jobs. You see some with like a neutral tan color. You see others that may look like police protectrons that you've had before. And as Chop gets close to these buildings, he deposits the two, just sort of lets go of them when he's close enough to the barn. And he begins to walk inside of one. And as you all get there and sit things down, or at least temporarily take your little break, it's up to all of you if you wish to kind of follow Chop and see what he's up to, or you could poke around some of these cabins, and I'd even give people a chance here to loot the place if you'd be so interested. There are, at least 4 structures in this photo. So if people are interested in looting, that's an option. If people want to check on Chop, or people want to help him gather things, if you want to be on lookout in the surrounding area, you have pretty good view over to probably, I don't know if you'd be able to see the West Virginia lumber mill from here exactly, but you'd be looking out towards that direction, have a pretty good lay of the land here.
I will follow Chop and see if he needs a hand, and I will pass it to the other gang, see what they want to do.
Sure. So Sam's going to go in. What do we got Jim and Reuben doing here?
I'll let Reuben before I make my decision.
Following Sam.
Oh, I'll just be looking around.
As Sam and Reuben begin to approach the barn Chop's in, you can see a lot of robot clutter outside of it, bits and bobs. And when you officially kind of get in there and your eyes adjust to the lighting, you see what looks like a mostly intact, parts replaced here and there, SentryBot, one of the largest robots to wander post-war America. And you would gather that it looks like Chop may be bringing robot parts back to reestablish this much larger one. That whatever components he's after from these protectrons seem to be things he's trying to use to put this critter back together. Put this up on screen. I think most people at home know what a SentryBot looks like, but just in case, he's got one of these in the barn. He's not too phased or doesn't even notice maybe Reuben and Sam coming in. So whatever you two decide to do coming in, whether you want to announce yourselves or otherwise, is up to you.
Wow, Chop, this is incredible. Is this what you've been working on?
Yes, I bring back spare parts. Chop is lonely. It is difficult to always be on lookout. So Chop is restoring a SentryBot for lookout. Was restoring. Now Chop may have to leave his project behind.
I mean, we may be able to fit it on the boat. I'm not sure if you want to try to transport it to Hope. It's got wheels. We could maybe just pull it. Maybe Jim could take a look at it, see if we can maybe at least get it moving. I don't know how far along this is. I'm not the most science-minded guy, but maybe we can get some of its internals working.
Weapons are offline. Power is low. Chop was trying to replace Gatling cannons with Protectron lasers. You can actually see he has, for one of the arms, replaced what was the machine gun projectile focused arm with. He's sort of removed and stripped down the arm barrels from the Protectrons and has sort of welded them together so that they're a 3 laser non-spinning barrel. Would need to in that case of it being laser based, but you can see that he has hooked that up, and might actually be part of the reason he can't really power it so easily is I don't remember how many fusion cores Sentry Bot uses anyway, but this would of course add a little bit of extra drain on its power supply. If someone did want to try and help him with a science and intelligence check, people could probably get a little bit better of an idea of the status of it.
I will poke my head.
Wow, I like this robo, Mr. Chop. Can I ride it?
Maybe. It is large enough for a small human, but it does not go now. Can you fix it? Can you make it go? Smaller hands, easier time working on the internal components.
I'll poke my head out the door and yell out to Jim and say, "Hey, Jim, come take a look at this real quick."
All right, I'm coming right in.
What's Jim do when he sees that sight?
Well, I'm a little intrigued. The finding one of these things intact. My first deal is to go and check the wiring to see if it can operate.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and roll difficulty 2, science and intelligence check. Nice. Great job. That's 2 more action points back to the pool, bringing you guys to a full 6 out of 6 on your points. Better spend some of those soon. Jim, your assessment of it, as you approach it and you begin looking around, you can see this thing's it's in pretty great shape. All things considered, considering that a super mutant has been putting this together as sort of a side project, especially considering it's just a bunch of different bits from other places he's trying to strip down. One of the biggest problems, though, you can see is the lack of power. He's kind of alluded, or someone kind of gathered that a minute ago, but this robot is inactive right now. But you think that if power could be restored to it, it could be brought online. I think what Jim would know is that a sentry bot often has 2 or more fusion cores in it. And this one does seem to have 1. What the state is that core is hard to say. But you can guess that even if that core has a good amount of energy to it, it's probably not going to finish its boot cycle without a second. If you wanted to try and maybe hotwire it anyway, like avoid those sort of startup protocols, you might be able to power it up without any sort of weaponry and maybe, limit some of its other systems so that it can just draw enough power to move, if that makes sense. So it's wanting power for both weapons, but also propulsion and just general computing activity.
Mr. Jim and Sam, I have a core in my bag I found on the Mothman cultist.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember this, but that's very interesting. When did you get this, Reuben? Remind the audience, because I honestly don't remember. I believe you.
Yeah, it my bag.
Do you remember when you got it? Was it the last session, or was this a previous cultist? Because I just don't remember.
I think I got it from the power arouser one, I think.
Oh, the whole way back there, huh? At the battle? Then is that the one that's...
Yeah.
That's the one that's powering your power armor, right? Did you... This is a good question. Again, I'm not trying to overly rules litigate. I'm asking more of a logistics question, that if this was the one that was powering the power armor, then I guess the question is, did you take that? I think you have the armor on the boat, I believe. I think. And so I'm guessing, we haven't talked about you moving the power armor since, so we could assume that it is down at the boat. And maybe you took the fusion.
I think it's spare one I found.
Wow.
I will say, though, just based on Fallout gameplay, taking the power core or the fusion core out is like taking the keys to your car, because otherwise it gets stolen and everything if you don't take it out. So I would like to think theoretically maybe she just didn't actually mention it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason I ask is sort of just to know, are you sacrificing the power armor's core, which is sensible. I mean, again, I'm not trying to tell you what to do with it. I'm just trying to understand where that core comes from. I don't remember you finding a second one, but that doesn't mean you didn't. I do remember that you guys gave one. You found one way earlier on. You gave it to Modus, right, to keep the radio tower powered. And I think you got another one along the way that powered the APC. And then you did the one in the power armor did have a charge. I don't remember how much was in that armor. I don't know if we even decided that. But if you think Reuben has an extra one, then you could certainly try to utilize that here. And now, one of the questions I guess I would have, since you were the one with it in your bag, is how much power does it have? Do you know? Do you have a note on that? Do we need a roll on that? I don't even know if it's official to the rules, but I've seen it in other people's homebrew sheets that I think that most of the vehicles have work on a 10 charge basis for the fusion cores, I believe. I'll have to look this stuff up now that we're using fusion cores a little bit more.
Not sure how much power this has.
What do you roll on it? Okay, well, go ahead and roll a d20, and no matter what the score is, we'll just sort of take it on a 1 to 10 scale. So 10. Okay, there you go. It's a fully charged fusion core. You have a fully powered fusion core. So if Reuben chooses to give that over to Chop, you pull that out of your bag in front of him.
Mr. Chop, you can borrow mine.
His eyes go very wide. You have a fusion core, and I can have it for my friend, Buddy Bot.
Yeah, it from my Sayat.
I do not understand, but I will take it.
Suit.
And he reaches forward and he grabs that from your hand. And he goes around the back of it. And you hear as it locks into place. And then you hear sentry bots for the players at home, you know that sound, that sound they make as you see a red light come on in its face, and its head moves up, and you hear, "Hostile enemies detected." And it does nothing else. Well, maybe BuddyBot doesn't think
poop run,
you're
Jim.
buddy.
Jim, is there a way that you can change the targeting parameters?
It's definitely possible. I'd have to, if we were, I'd have to hook it up to a terminal.
But he doesn't have any active weapons right now, right?
Not that are being deployed against you. Not at this. No rounds have been fired yet. If that was a question for me.
Okay,
Is there one on the boat?
Maybe we can keep him a little docile until we get to a terminal.
Yeah, that would be advisable.
Hostile target detected.
Oh, poop.
Hostile
Chop,
target
don't
detected.
give it ammo.
Beginning
Jim,
evasive
there's no way you
maneuver.
can shut him up.
Boom! It just crashes through the side of the barn as it wheels out into the more central area of the Darling Sisters lab area. Chop does not have activated this before.
Oh no, this bad.
Yeah. BuddyBot, stop! Hostile target detected. It makes all of its noises.
BuddyBot, be nice.
Pursuing invaders. And it just wheels around the area. All that's meanwhile keeping who was most in front of it? Probably Reuben and Sam, I would guess, was probably the ones that were standing directly in front of it as Chop had gone behind it and as Jim was probably working towards the side of it. It's most fixated on Sam
Guys,
and Reuben.
help it chasing me.
Well, maybe we can use this to our advantage. Let's get back to it. Maybe we can loot a little bit before we leave, and then we can start heading back and just, keep it aggroed on us. Maybe it'll just follow.
As Reuben says that, it does begin to chase her around the vicinity here. Reuben, why don't you roll I'm going to say Reuben.
BuddyBot tag.
Yeah, Reuben cannot assist with the looting, but based on her strength and athletics test she's going to do here in a second, she can keep the thing occupied and running in circles. Great, easy, with 3 successes on there. Reuben has no problem sort of kiting this thing around the vicinity. Sam, you and Jim are going to go ahead and do the looting if you'd like.
Catch me, buddy.
Marlene, Ted, Reuben, who are all outside kind of sitting with their crates, catching their breath. They are very, at first, alarmed by this robot who crashed through the side of the barn, but now proceeds to do laps around here following Reuben. And big old Chop, he's not very worried or upset or anything of that nature. He seems quite willing to watch this all happen. With that super mutant calm, he does not seem to break a sweat over this. But I do want to say, as we are reaching our time, I think we're even over for a break. I'm so sorry, everyone. It probably should have been forever ago. But why don't we go ahead and run our AFK now as we prepare to do some looting and come back and do that. It's going to be Jim and Sam, if you two are up to the task while Reuben does the rest. There are, 3 different cabins you could loot through if you want to grab some supplies and bring them with you. So that's where we'll go ahead and do our break. To my players, if you've got any thoughts, questions, or concerns in the meantime, feel free to write those in the Discord server, little notes for yourself or otherwise, and we'll get back to those in 10 minutes. Everybody get up, stretch your legs, restroom, all the rest. Oh, brief time to self-promote, though, too, and say, I flopped this up on screen earlier, but didn't call attention to it. Our code for this upcoming week is BTales40. That is the code you can use to save 20% off on the Bethesda Gear Shop. Use that code. Help us out. By using that code to get yourself some Bethesda gear, you can give a massive donation to the stream. It's 10% of your checkout, so it's a big gift if you go up there and buy yourself anything cool from the shop, get yourself a nice new display item, and help pay for the bills, help pay for the internet and all that stuff. Let us expand our offerings to all of you at home. And I don't have a code for a picture for it right now, a little pop-up, but as a reminder, if you want to get yourself a copy of the Fallout TTRPG system we're playing right now, the code BTales, no number at the end, BTales on the Modiphius shop. Modiphius is the company that, in conjunction with Bethesda, creates the Fallout TTRPG. So there is a core rulebook, there is a 2 supplementary guides, the Wanderers and Settlers guide. Highly recommend the Wanderers. That one's wonderful. There's going to be new content this year, timed to the release of the Fallout season of the TV show. So around December, there's going to be even more added to the game. Great time to get in and learn it. And in the future, meaning like the very near future, August, I'm meeting with some of my players for the second campaign we're looking to run. It's going to be a 3-shot, so 3 episodes. We will record those and put those up to YouTube. In addition, after that, then we open up to doing a lot more. Once we get the second campaign under our belt, that has introduced me to a lot of cool players that we can bring through. If we want to set up other campaigns, we want to do some smaller stuff, we want to have people from the audience come in for it. There's a lot of room to explore those ideas. So if you're at home and interested in that, go check out those codes I said. BTales40 on the Bethesda Gear Shop, BTales on the Modiphius shop. And check out our Instagram, our TikTok, and so much more. 2 YouTube channels. Do all that while we're AFK. Catch ya in 10. Chat, you know what makes you special is the fact that you all come out to this stream each and every Sunday and watch these videos over on YouTube. If you haven't got the chance to go follow the channel, Tales from Tomorrow, please do so. That'd be super duper helpful to us. As well, if you get the chance to check out the Overseer Kyle channel as well. That's what's up. We got a lot going on over there. Lots of Fallout. Who do we have back at the table here? We got a Sky.
Yes, indeed.
We got a DK.
Yep.
And we got a Mac Raven. Yes? I do see a Mac Raven typing.
Yes, in her TTS voice.
Yes. I love that voice. It's so silly.
No, the Mothman got me.
No.
No.
No. She's so super sincere, the TTS lady. No. Sorry, Max typing out.
That was new.
New. Yes, it was new. Just like your adventure. As we discussed earlier on the stream, we are going to, at this time of night, begin to bring this to a close. We said we'd be here for about 2 hours, and we started the stream just a little after. Maybe it's 7:45 about. It is about 9:30 now. So, actually, we're probably in a really great spot to be wrapping it up on time. We have, let's say, another half an hour about of gameplay for the evening here. So, as you are all regathering, you are at the Darling Sister farm. You have a sentry bot chasing Raven around the lot. And then, meanwhile, we got Sam and Jim who are taking a look at some of these buildings nearby to do some looting. You can see that Chop is mostly focused in the one farmstead, the one building, I should say, garage. I don't know what words I'm using tonight. He's been mostly in his sort of mechanics workshop. And you can see in a sort of, I guess you could say traditional super mutant style that he has his like little area that he's lays down as like loose bedding there. But nothing really substantially made here as like a housing situation. He doesn't seem to have personal belongings here or anything so much as this was just a convenient workshop area for him to take residence in recently. And you probably even question how often he's actually here, how much he's out wandering the wastes and looking for new components. But yeah, now you have a big old sentry bot running around. Let me get this off the screen. Pull up some of our looting mechanics here. Not just the mechanics, but some of the 23 loot everything. Okay. This is one of the ones I'll use. Take this away from all of you. People at home. Okay, what do we got from Sam and Jim if they want to roll their checks for perception and survival? I'm going to say that these places are probably I don't want to make it like out of your reach, but they're probably pretty heavily looted. So I'd say your search difficulty in these places is probably a 2 because these are mostly searched. So we could say that one of you leads the check and the other follows and can give a help action. So like you can give a roll of your own. Who here wants to lead that? Sam or Jim?
I kind of jumped the gun and threw one out. We don't have to count it.
You can.
Yeah, but before you said that. So, I mean...
0 successes.
Yeah, goose eggs. Which will probably be regardless.
I'll let Jim roll a separate one anyway, but Jim, your difficulty with this will be 3. So, if you guys want to spend AP, you got a full pull to add dice. Or not, a 1. Both of those fall short. You look through these buildings and see nothing of interest. Very well picked clean. You can guess that through Chop using this location, wanderers that may have come through here. What was once... What you do gather is that this place was probably some sort of drug lab. There's some chemistry station there. Pretty bad disarray. You can see remnants of supplies that might have been used to make illicit drugs. But none of that seems to remain intact or functional here now. Which gives you all the choice, if you would like, to begin heading out of here. Or doing anything you want, really.
Yeah, I'm ready to, I feel like we're burning daylight. I'm ready to get on the lonesome trail back there.
Buddybot can't get me chopped this best day ever.
Good. Buddybot's fast, but Reuben faster. We could put boxes on Buddybot. Put crates. Make it pull.
Let's give it a shot. Reuben, do you think that you can catch up to him?
Sure.
Probably want to make sure we don't use the fragile boxes. Anything that they might have any glassware in or anything like that probably shouldn't tie it up to old Buddybot.
I'll just say for ease of, I'm not sure if Raven's typing something, but you guys are able to, Raven's able to slow down, and Buddybot sort of corners her. And in that moment of it, it's sort of trying to pin her location like into one of the buildings, and sort of standing outside of it is a good moment to sort of lasso it with some rope and attach one of the like Foot Locker style large metal crates on it. And seems like that'll hold for your trip. just for the ease of expediting it. Does anyone want to do anything else here? I'll move along unless some of your characters want to interact with things. You're welcome to do so.
I'm ready to try to get Buddy back on the boat.
Same here.
Rock on. Okay, then. You guys
Yeah, me too.
head off down the winding path, down the road towards your established beachhead outside of the Tyler County Fairgrounds. Again, not a very long journey, just down and around. You pass by a bunch of husks of burnout cars. See the remnants of battles, new or old, along these paths. Signs of wildlife that have gone through. And as you get into the site of the boat, it sits just where you had left it, sort of loosely anchored or tied, I guess is a better word for it, to some sort of outcropping there, maybe even a little mini dock on the side of the Ohio River. And you all begin your descent down to the boat. Ted, Marlene, and Reuben, all with a little less to carry thanks to Buddy Bot, who is now in tow, pursuing Raven, trying to apprehend her. Every once in a while, it goes through one of its little phases where it goes and like just makes all this noise, like it's going into a new process. And every once in a while on your journey, though this one's not a very long one, probably only once along the way, it does have to stop. It goes into a shutdown mode for just a brief couple moments as its power fusion cores pop out loosely from the back and steam jets out. It's able to perform one of its cooling cycles before you all proceed back onto the boat and decide what you're going to do next here. I'll pass it all to you so you can decide. I feel like I've talked a lot here tonight.
I would like to see if we can take one of the power cores out just to disable him while we load him onto the boat.
Ooh. That's probably going to be a science and intelligence check, Sam, to do that. If you want Jim to be looking in there, he could lead it, but as... Well, I'll just leave it at that. You guys can decide exactly how you want to go about that process. It's sensible, but maybe challenging.
Jim, do you think that whenever it goes into its cooldown mode, maybe we could wrap something around the fusion core so that we don't burn ourselves and yank it out just to be able to store it?
Yeah, I think that could be done.
Let's give it a try.
We'll just make it another... I mean, Jim's doing stellar on his science checks, and I don't even know that you guys really need to roll up a new one for this, not to make it too easy for you all, but with the way Raven excelled at her last strength and athletics check, the way that Jim excelled at his last science and intelligence check, I think between these two, Raven runs it to the point that it has to go into one of its pause moments. And in that, Jim being prepared with, I don't know if you have actually like formal glove stuff that, your character has or anything like that, or just cloth around the hand, but Jim's able to sort of quickly climb up onto its back briefly and pull one of those fusion cores out, which seems to disable it completely. It's light, dissipates from its face. It's already in a somewhat slumped over form, and you see it even further like kind of rests on those. Any last kind of hydraulic elements that were still at play all sort of give ease. And now you're left with this massive heavy carcass of a sentry bot sort of just sitting there near the boat. As all this commotion is going on, Alfred comes out to the deck and goes, hello everyone, welcome back to my river cruise boat line traveling down from Hope to Point Pleasant. It's great to see you all, and I see we have even more tourists aboard today. Hello, hello, hello. Who all have you brought for us, Master Sam and Reuben and Jim? It's great to see you. Oh, I have such stories to tell you of my tumultuous, treacherous time manning the boat on the Ohio River, just like a rip-daring expedition.
Look at you. I'm glad that you were able to keep yourself entertained. The big guy, that's Chop. His robot companion, that's BuddyBot. And then these fine folk we have right here are Reuben, Marlene, and Ted. We found them all at the cabins up there. Everyone, this is Alfred.
Well, hello, wonderful to meet you all. Tickets, please, tickets. I'm just kidding, there aren't tickets. We don't have tickets, I don't even have paper, but you understand the reference. We're going on a cruise. I know we're going to see beautiful sights down by the Mothman Museum. I've read all about it, I've heard it's a wonderful place. We're going to see ammunition silos, storage domes along the way. It's going to be beautiful, and if you look behind you, you could see the gorgeous Tyler County Fairgrounds Ferris wheel. Oh, the prizes that have been won. Did you all spend your time there? Did you get to spin the wheel, win some goodies?
We played some games there. We played the shooting range up there, if you will.
Oh, how wonderful. I love a good shooting practice. And you can see he has his little flamer out. And he like gestures like he's going to flame it, but he's aboard the boat. He knows a little bit better than to do that here. I could use target practice. Welcome aboard. Can I carry someone's bag? Let me help you. Oh, hello, madam. Hello, sir. Welcome, welcome. Step right up. Come on board. Oh, Master Sam, maybe I should have been a carnival barker. What a fun job that must have been. Step on up, one and all. Tickets. I'm such in a mood. I love a good fairground.
Me too, buddy. Although the river boat tour, we're going to have to make a detour on it. We're going to have to bring them back to Hope.
Back to Hope, Master Sam. That's not a detour. That's a return to our initial embarkations. Oh, what? Why are we going up there? Is there a new leg of our journey?
We're going to need to drop this gang off there and also maybe pick up the Nuka bot to keep Chop entertained while we're on this boat. Otherwise, he might be picking apart your parts.
What? Master Sam, I am not for parts. I'll have you know. I have been running for about 30 years consecutively, and I cannot be taken apart. I will not have it.
That's what I told him. But, there's not much I can do against a super mutant.
Did you tell him that I'm now technically property of the town of Hope and one of the leading ambassadors of cheer and welcome to the town?
I'll have to remind him.
Please do.
But I'll keep an eye out for you, buddy.
I would love... And when we get back, maybe you could even get me an official title. I've been thinking of that one, and this time we've been gone... Cheer and hope, welcome, man, robot. I'll let you all think of the formal title, but I think it would be rather swell if I had some sort of role. Maybe I already have one as boat captain, and he just kind of goes off sort of talking to himself a little bit. Sort of debating what his role actually is.
We'll have a conversation with Mayor Smiles when we get back.
Very good. Ahoy, mateys! It's time. If all of your goodies are loaded up aboard the boat, we could depart. And with substantial work, you guys can get the buddy bot, sentry bot aboard the boat. It's mostly Chop doing the pushing that gets it up there. That is a heavy robot that is Certainly something that you guys could not do without Chop's help. Maybe, certainly not as a 3-person party. Maybe as a 6-person human party. But it's Chop that really drives it home with his super mutant strength that gets that hunk of metal up there. Get him nicely positioned in the back of the boat. There's room enough for at least most people to be, on the upper deck. Maybe a couple people go down the inner hold of the ship and kind of gather their things. But you guys are probably close to filling this thing to capacity. I forget how many orb cultists you came back with. Something like 7, maybe 8, I think. And because you guys had the full party of them at one point. So you kind of got that boat pretty full again. You got a super mutant, which is like
Hope we don't.
two
Tea
people.
stink.
Hope we don't stink. Well, you might. Mac probably does. So, your plan is to return to Hope then. Any last things, activities, etc. before you head up the river?
I think I'm ready to make our fateful return.
Very good. Then, as you depart, Al at the helm, Captain Al of the, I don't even know if this boat has a name.
Set Mr. Al.
He begins lightly pulling you out of there, gets the boat nice and turned around, and you begin your journey the whole way up the Ohio River, up, until you all begin to see the town of Hope on the horizon. And I think that's a pretty good spot for us to put a pin in it for our early session this week. I think we're just at a nice sort of spot there where you guys can do a regrouping in Hope next week. You can gather supplies, communicate with the townspeople, sort of let them know what you've discovered along the way. As a reminder, your boat does have two-way communication, so you could always signal off to Hope and let them know. And I'll kind of say that can even happen. If you want to do that, that can happen even before you get in sight of the town. I just want to kind of point that out to everybody. But to the people out there at home, thank you for coming through this week. Again, we all have a long, tired day here today. I've been sitting here chugging coffee, and I've had fun with this one. Nice, small, getting back into it after we took a week off. I'm sure Sky is very, very... I would guess you're some level of exhausted moving into an apartment. I know moving into this office really took it out of me, so I'm glad we could have like a little respite for this episode, that we all just get back into it slow and steady and gather our bearings. I think going back to Hope is just a nice kind of return to form, if you will. So to all my players, Sky, DK, and Mac Raven, thank you for coming out tonight and participating in this. I'm excited to go do our quick case review recap in a few minutes. And if anyone wants to get a hold of that, those are starting to air on Mondays on both the Substack and the Coffee page. So the Coffee one's in the lower left corner of this screen, ko-fi.com/overseer Kyle. You can become a monthly member and get access to these episodes and more. And I've been a little bit slacky, remiss on it, but I really need to start using this printer to make sure it works before the return period's over. But I did a very first test print here, as you can still see me holding up. This one is, I've actually got more to add to the interior of it now. I can kind of fill it out and finish it. But this is something people could get in physical form, mailed to them if they become a higher level member over there. I'm trying to decide how exactly I'm going to send these things out. There's going to be a digital form for people that subscribe, probably at the $5 level. Right now, it's formally written, it's the $15, but I'd really like to get these out to more and more people. And so if you're interested in getting the zine, then you can check out the Coffee page. That is not tied to the Substack, just as a warning to people. Like, if you choose to subscribe over on Substack, that's amazing. But as a warning, the zine will be exclusive to the Coffee side, just because of how the distribution system works. What else to say? You can use those Bethesda codes we just got done talking about a little bit ago. Save yourself some money. It'll be BTales40 this week. Save yourself that 20% off the Bethesda Gear Shop. BTales is the code to get the TTRPG. Oh, and what else do we have to say? Again, lots of activity over on Twitch if you're interested in coming by and being part of our Fallout stuff. DK was great to remind me earlier that on August 2nd and 16th, so first and third Saturday of the month, we will be doing a crafting fair within Fallout 76 on the PC side. So if you play there, make sure to send a friend request to Overseer Kyle, and we'll get you in on that event. It'll be very fun for you to be either a crafter or someone that gets some goodies out of it. If you want to get in on that early and get prepared for it, join into the Discord server. That will be an element of how we all communicate the crafting fair. Will be through the Discord server, but it will also be live streamed over on Twitch. So if you want to go and get yourself, the best thing you can do to pre-prep, join the Discord, get into the Twitch page, make sure you're following, turn on your notifications. We're going to try doing Fallout 76 meetups every Friday night in... Did I just say the name of the game? Fallout 76? I'm a little bit of a broken record. My brain's left the building. But we're going to try and get people to log in and group up on Friday nights. Just because of everything going on in the world, in the game, and everything else and in between, it'd be sort of hard to set time for people to actually get together and game. And, you know, my voice as a community builder across the internet feels like we've got a group of interested people, but it's always very hard to actually get a message through because of the way the algorithms work. And, you know, sometimes the people that are the biggest fans of your content are the ones that never see it because it just doesn't get served up to them. And this is sort of one of those examples of, you know, hey, instead of checking every night on Twitch to see if we're live, you can do that. But instead of having to do that, why don't you prepare that every Friday we'll be together in game? And then you can decide the rest of the week what you do. You got a lot of content to catch up from us, all of this. Tales from Tomorrow, the Overseer's Log, the case reviews, the Vault broadcast interviews over on my second YouTube channel, Overseer Kyle. All of that coming to you each week. It's a lot of stuff. You get about a whole new piece of content almost every single day of the week. And that might be the case if you go over and follow on Instagram and TikTok as well, both Overseer Kyle, although TikTok has an underscore between the two. So go check those out. All the links are in the description below. If you're over here on YouTube, should be the same if you're on Spotify. But I'd remind you all, you can go to tftfallout.com to get our Substack newsletter directly. That way you can put your name on the list and you'll get emailed when an episode goes out. That's the only time we send out emails is specifically when there's a new release of something. So you can get all that information. And overseerkyle.com is the hub for all the rest, for the call-in links, for the Discord, for the everything we've mentioned, overseerkyle.com. So I will leave you there, folks. Thank you for joining us tonight. There is a small chance, if I'm hyped up on all this coffee I drank, maybe, just maybe, we'll even make an appearance in Appalachia this evening. I need to get my dailies done in Fallout 76. So thank you all for being here. I hope you have a wonderful night, and you stay safe out there in the wastelands, at least until next week. Take care.